I just left the theater to watch the highly anticipated film Him, and I don't know what the I just watched. But let's talk about it. This is not directed by Jordan Peele. Stop trying to put smut on my ghost's name. But they did plaster his name all over for advertising, which I mean, I guess is kind of smart. But maybe this not being a Jordan Peele movie was the problem, because I still don't know what the fuck I just watched. By no means, Him is not the worst movie of the year, but it is the most disappointing. Him is about a future NFL prospect, Cameron Cade, that gets to meet his idol, Isaiah White, who is considered to be the GOAT. He goes for a week to train and realizes in order to become the GOAT, in order to become him, he is going to have to sacrifice more than he ever expected. This was a very highly anticipated sports horror, so why was it so hard to get into?
And so this new kid comes along, and he comes to his camp, and he reminds him of the great he used to be, and he's like, I don't want to retire. I want to make your life hell. I want to break you. And so he goes about psychologically just dismantling him in a horrific kind of way. And what happens is it's the franchise basically is a representation for and signing with, you know, like the devil. But it's not the devil. And it's all about the choice, because do you want to be? And he tells him, don't be me, be better than me.
So Him is labeled a horror, but it's not scary. It honestly gives thriller vibes, but it isn't suspenseful. And I know I wasn't the only one who left the theater thinking, what the fuck? Yes, there is a plot in the movie, but it's just not engaging enough for me to entangle myself in it. Nigga, join the Illuminati or go home. Yes, there is a plot, but it's just not a mystery for us viewers to figure out. It's not a detailed story of characters to unravel. The plot is the mental games that Cam, the main character, faces. Throughout the film, he begins to realize that the preached version that they shoved down his throat false.
That's crazy.
As a child of this ideology of what a man is, it was him realizing the life that everyone was forcing him to want was only for their own benefit. The idolization of a sport and sacrifice athletes go through to become great. As a viewer, you want me to entangle myself in the plot being a mental dilemma for the main character. Is he willing to kill who he is to become what he wants to be? The plot is Cam realizing what it truly means to be him. Problem is that all of these things could have still taken place while you adding a more interesting plot line to spice things up. I think the overall movie in concept had a lot of potential. To me, the thing that threw everything off, the thing that made it feel like something was missing, the thing that made it so disappointing was that
Bro, please, bro.
The thing that made it so disappointing was that the plot didn't allow the viewer to be engaged in the story. I felt left out with nothing to cling to or to feel attached to or resonate with. There wasn't enough mystery or suspense for me to solve as the viewer, and especially for horror fans, the adrenaline rush isn't being fulfilled, and I'm really not sure what I'm supposed to feel or what emotion the director wants me to feel. So I mean, yes, there is a plot, but to me it didn't feel like there was a real plot to be solved.
This shit felt like I was watching an episode of Atlanta mixed with Get Out. Then somebody took half the script, spit on it, shit on it, and then threw it in the trash and started freestyling the second and third act. And what pissed me off the most, other than this shit being total dog shit, is the fact that Jordan Peele didn't even direct this film. They advertised this shit, Jordan Peele this, Jordan Peele that. He only produced it. This nigga is the real culprit. And it doesn't make it any better because this shit wanted to be a Jordan Peele film so fucking bad, but couldn't do shit right. They was throwing out religious innuendos left and right, giving them shits out like candy on Halloween, all for that shit to lead nowhere. And then the nigga got the nerve to spam us with Mortal Kombat 10 x-rays. Like bro, I couldn't take this shit seriously at that point.
You came in a little too nice.
Him dives into the evils of American sports. Young men, especially from poor areas, are consumed and almost conditioned to think that sports is the only way out, which is why they gain such a fulfillment in playing and reaching high levels putting themselves through literal blood, sweat, and tears, while their rich white owners benefit from the players' sacrifices without ever experiencing the same struggles. We see the themes of toxic masculinity being projected in Cam since he was a boy, telling him that struggle and powering through is what being a man is, installing in him that pleasing others and being glorified is what success is. It explores the cult-like fandom fans show towards players and teams with endless glazing, helping form these parasocial relationships and putting these celebrities on a pedestal that a human does not deserve to be on. It exposes some of the demonic activities and exposes the links that these super successful people were willing to go to be glorified and looked at as God. A quote that Isaiah says is, "Football first, family second, and God third."
I'm a rapper first, I'm a family man second, and I put God third.
Hold up! Football is literally life or death. I do want to state that the performances in this movie are actually pretty good. Tyreek Withers, he displays some pretty good emotional scenes. My boy Marlon Wayans already knew he was going to give a phenomenal performance. We really need to take time to appreciate Marlon Wayans' versatility. The movie had Jordan Peele back in it. It was a good film to look at visually. I just genuinely think that the movie was missing a connection to its viewer.
At its heart, the movie is about how people, especially these young athletes, are turned into commodities. That message hits even harder in the final scenes, where the all-white team of owners treat Cam with open condescension, even calling him as boy. The racial undertones are simply impossible to miss, thus framing the owners as more than just greedy businessmen. In the world of him, these rich white men are the embodiment for the devil himself by feeding on the dreams and bodies of players like Cam. At the end, the team owners are the ones who come out on top as they feed off the sweat, sacrifice, and even suffering of the players. The ending of him paints them as the real villains, as they are the ones who have gained the most from everything that Isaiah and every athlete before him has endured and inflicted over the years. It's one of him's sharpest critiques about the sports world, but the film does not leave it hanging. Instead, it delivers a bloody dose of catharsis that makes the point hit even harder. Cameron learns that this cadre of people have been grooming him to become him since forever. While it is not outright stated, the movie also implies that the team even killed his father so Cameron would continue to play football. And Cameron's agent, the Savior's owner, and the rest absolutely were responsible for his head injury, which allowed them to isolate him for this final psychopathic training camp. Even if Cam's father is only really in one scene of him, his influence hangs over much of his arc in the film. Cam's father is established in a prologue scene as a lifelong fan of the San Antonio Saints, a passion he passes on to his son. Although he was dead by the present day of the film, Cam claims to be doing his father proud by becoming the GOAT. For Cam, becoming the GOAT is a way to fix the falling out he had with his father. Cam's tearful secret was that he almost quit football, which seemed to break his father's heart. So Cam's commitment to becoming the greatest was a means of making up for his mistake. However, there is more to this because in the film's final stretch, the owners reveal that on top of having attacked Cam to force him their way, a picture proves they had made a deal with Cam's father years prior to ensure Cam became the GOAT. So, the allegory of Cam's father highlights one of the darker psychological motivations of how people can become committed to something because their parents made them. Even though Cam is the one who chooses to carry on the athletic career his father envisioned for him, it was a world he was deliberately pushed into from the start, and it seems he could never have escaped it.
All the stuff in the previous video about his dad was things that I don't think I really caught on to, and him not really having a choice, which matches with a quote that Isaiah said in the movie when he asks, if you're starving to death in a prison and somebody asks you for food or freedom, do you really have a choice? There's a lot of things in my initial watch that I just missed. I did not catch on. A lot of things that I needed help to understand. I was not that high on Sinners my first watch, and it wasn't until I learned more about the film, the director, watched videos, and went back to see it a second time that I was able to understand why it was a great film. I do plan on going back to watch the movie for a second time to fully get a grasp of what is being told. So all of this was just my initial reaction to the film. I don't think it is a bad film. I just think in order for me to really know how I feel about it, I'm going to have to watch this again.